Just close your eyes and imagine the feelings, the fear, the trauma thrown in life in the form of cancer, in the form of not just one or two, but six bullet injuries in the battlefield. And yet the zeal and enthusiasm to bounce back and craft a lesson of inspiration on overcoming adversity. Today, let's meet Mukesh, who has endured all of this in one lifetime and who continues to inspire us each day on campus. Thank you so much for joining us, Mukesh. It's truly an honor to be talking to you.
Thank you, Gautami. Thank you so much, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to, speak to everyone. But frankly, the introduction looks like, as if there's a big hero. But trust me, so what I feel about it, and just 2, 3 days before we were talking to one of our professor, and so we were speaking about this perspective. So I feel that so there are no heroes in lives, and in fact, if I may rephrase it, so everybody is a hero in his own life. So कई बार ऐसा लगता है कि like I had bullet injuries, I'm a cancer survivor,
Yeah.
but I feel that each one of you, you all are facing some or the other problems. और वो कहते हैं ना कि मेरा गम बड़ा होने से आपका गम छोटा तो नहीं है. So I think everybody is a hero in his life, and everybody is facing problems or finding a solution. And I think maybe I was just fortunate that I came from probably an industry or a place where I mean I don't wish that anybody should have this kind of chances.
Right.
But I still feel that each one of us are hero in our own lives. But anyway, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity.
It's a pleasure. Tell us something about your childhood. How were you as a child?
So, well, I hail from Bihar, but I was born and brought up in Hyderabad. So my father was in the army, and so we were 4 siblings, and so the army was, all around us, all our childhood. And I studied in an army school.
So you said you didn't want to join the army. So what was going in your mind?
I was born and brought up in the army atmosphere, had seen so much, but somehow I was not very inclined to join army. So my passion always, right from the childhood, it lied towards the corporate style.
Okay.
And so in fact, I had appeared for my engineering. I remember way back in 97, 98, I had appeared for engineering. And then I was doing my computer science engineering. And, it was that era when probably even if you knew Excel, so all those who knew Excel at that point of time are green card holders today, in the US.
Okay.
So I was always, passionate about that.
Okay.
But as I told you, that my father was from, not an officer rank and from the lower rank in the army. So when I went for my SSB and I got through with the SSB, so I remember that day very categorically. I came back early morning around 6 o'clock from Bangalore after my SSB, and my mother opened the door, and I was like, she hugged me and she was like, she congratulated me, and I was like, मैं फौज ज्वाइन नहीं कर पाऊंगा. You don't expect me to join army. I'm doing my computer science engineering, and that's the way I'm looking at it. But what had happened was like so I had lost my father when I was in class 9th, and so I had appeared for the NDA exam after my class 12th. So my elder brother was there. So I went on top, and we had a 2-floor house. And so the moment my brother saw me, so he hugged me, and he started. He had tears in his eyes, and so he was like, "कि आज तूने डैडी का सपना पूरा कर दिया." I think those 30 seconds, and probably that one sentence of my elder brother, I think that totally changed my life. And so I was like, okay, fine, your personal desires can be met later, but probably, that moment, the family, probably the requirement of the family was that I had to join army. And then I took a call that, okay, I'll go in the army. And so, but I didn't stop there, and I remember 99, I joined NDA, and then almost after about 10 years, 2008, 2009, So I appeared for GMAT that time.
Okay.
And that time ISB Mohali was not there. So we had only
Oh my.
ISB Hyderabad was
Yeah.
there. And I remember getting a score of about 640.
Yeah.
And so I walked into ISB Hyderabad, just trying to meet the admission committee and all. And so they, when they saw the score and they said, okay, you're a diverse candid, young captain, so they were like, okay, fine, probably you fairly there are chances that you may get admission. So I was very happy, came back, so made my documents, applied to the army headquarters for a release from the army. But unfortunately, the army did not release me. And that's how, otherwise I would have been, 2008
my
batch of
God.
ISP,
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what happens, probably human being proposes, but God disposes. So maybe I think maybe that moment I was not prepared to face, or maybe, there was much more which was destined for me, which was
Destined for
lined
you,
up.
of
And
course.
that's how it happened for me. But ultimately,
Yeah.
almost now that we are 24, so
Yeah.
almost 15 years now that I'm back again.
That's crazy. And how was your army life?
So my initial army life, so I had about 4 years in India, and then I was commissioned into a Rajput regiment, 17 Rajput. So as we all understand that the army training part is fun with difficulty. I mean, the hardship level is quite this thing. But I think my initial years were good. But I think I could not perform to my maximum. So the only feedback which I got from all my instructors and my superiors was, they used to always tell me that you have much capability, but maybe you are not giving to your maximum. I don't know why, but I always felt that I lacked giving that 100%, in the while. So this continued for. I did fairly well in the army, I would say, and I personally feel that probably if I would have stayed back in the army, uh, I would have retired maybe as a two-star general in the army.
And I think for our generation, it's very important to understand the importance of being okay with being average in the world of alphas. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Oh, yes, yes. So at times I feel that, that a small amount of the which I could not achieve always pushed me to do that extra bit. And in today's world, see, this is one line which I had learned, a long time back in the army, and there was one of my senior. He said, there will be moments, see, so in the army we say, like when we get a promotion, so we get a kind of a letter.
Yeah.
So he used to say, there'll be one letter where you will not find your name. And I think, that's so true for all of us. Today in the campus, we are almost, 259 of us here. But I don't think so. I mean, I would wish, but not all of us will make it to CEOs. So there will be some times, where you will have to call it off, or you will have to understand. And it's okay. It's okay, because, life has got much bigger meaning than probably what we feel right now. I think it's fine. Give your best. And let the God decide what has to come to your way. And I think, I personally believe that destiny has a long role to play in this.
No, absolutely. And can you maybe share a little bit more about when that first bullet hit you? What was going in your head that time?
Yeah. So it was, 22nd February, 2017. So, well, okay. So I said, destiny. So, what had happened was before, so this incident had happened in Shopian. And before this, I was posted in Ambala, and I was fairly senior, so I already had about 16, 17 years of service that time. I was a lieutenant colonel in the army. And so I volunteered for this posting. So when I volunteered for this posting, so, there was a little bit of hesitance in the complete hierarchy that why such a senior, ranking officer or with so much of experience, why at this stage he wants to go to, so, we call it a hotbed. Okay, so the Shopian is considered to be the hottest bed in the insurgency field. Okay. So, so I volunteered for it, And so I reached there about 3 4 months, into the normal routine activity, carrying out couple of operations. And then so it happens that, so the day, now coming fast forward to the 22nd February. So this was the time when I was actually, I was not in Shopia, and I had moved to Srinagar for a conference. So there was a 3 days conference which was happening. So I was conducting this conference. And when I went there, so I had one senior brigadier who was, managing the whole thing. So I walked up to him and I said that, listen, I'm not here for this conferences, and I want to do something on ground, and I want to really go and see the operations. And he was like, chill, we'll see, when time comes, we'll send you. And so, I mean, in the army, we have a lot of hierarchical issues. So, but since I was working with him for a couple of days, so I could take that much of leverage with him. And I said, sir, मैं ना यहाँ ये सब करने नहीं आया, ठीक है, मुझे ना एक्शन करना है, कॉन्फ्रेंसेस करना था तो मैं अम्बाला में ही कर लेता था, मैं बैठा था, मैं यहाँ क्यों आऊँ यहाँ पे. So anyway, so it happened, but so that 22nd was the the final day of the conference. And I remember I got up very early that morning, around 3:34. I was preparing for this conference. And so after this conference, so I was selected for the next level of the conference, which was supposed to be happening again in Srinagar, and later we had to move to Delhi for this conference. But during the conference, the general who came from the Srinagar, and he came and said, "Okay, gentlemen, the next phase of the conferences, has been postponed by 3 days." So I was very happy. I said, "Chalo yaar, kam se kam 3 दिन के लिए, I will be out of this place." And then I walked up to this brigadier, and he said, "Okay, you can take a break, go for 3 days, do your operation, your field operations, and you can come." And I told him, like, "I'm not coming back again." And I said, "मैं जा रहा हूँ अभी वहाँ पे, मैं वापस नहीं आऊँगा यहाँ पे." He said, "चल ठीक है, देखते हैं, ठीक है." And so I came back to my unit location in Shopian, and so it was around 5 o'clock. Came back, I just went for a nap, got up at around 6:30, went for my walk. And so in the evening, we were just sitting. And so there suddenly what happened was, so there was a requirement of a UAV mission. So unfortunately, that night, what happened, there were no officers in my battalion, the main headquarters. So I had to go for this UAV mission. So, and this UAV mission was being conducted almost 3 hours away from the location where we were situated. So again, I was, detailed for this, and I was like, yeah, क्या ये UAV mission में है, यहाँ ये सब करने थोड़ी आया हूँ मैं यहाँ पे. Anyway, so I go ahead, got the UAV mission cancelled, and subsequently came back and went into the operation. And then it was almost midnight, 12 o'clock, that we were coming back from the operation. And so that was the time we got ambushed. And so I remember, so I was sitting in the gypsy. So, without going into the details of the operation, because maybe, the details of the operation, I'll discuss with you one-on-one sometime. One of the takeaways, when I look back and the whole incident, so what happens is, life had to bring me to that point, and thinking back almost 6 months before, my probably volunteering for this posting, my that conference being held, that conference getting delayed, I coming back, UAV mission, and there were so many small minor issues which probably I look at the way it is that the life gives you signals, it indicates you, and but if something has to happen, if it is destined for you, it will happen. And also I feel that by your own actions, you cannot change the destiny, but you can only prepare yourself for it. How what decisions you take. So जो लिखा है ना वो होगा, but how do you face it, what decisions do you take, I think that is what you can change it.
That is so well said. And then being diagnosed with cancer, I mean, your family must have been shattered.
Yeah. So I had already decided that I wanted to quit army. So after my, just fast forward, I was in Chandigarh. I was preparing for my GMAT. So I was deep inside GMAT almost 6 months, because I was coming back to studies after so long. So I had to really work hard, probably start from basics of the quant, and then I was preparing for it. And so this was 2023. And so I had planned that, I'll appear for my GMAT exam on 1st of September. So in the army, what happens is we have a routine medical. So every year we have to undergo a medical, this thing. And so my GMAT preparations were going on well. The mock tests were happening good. My scores were coming good. And I was very happy that, the path for me is now laid out very well. And बस अब जीमैट देना है किसी अच्छे बी स्कूल में जाना है फौज से निकलेंगे एंड देन यू हैव अ डिफरेंट लाइफ फॉर योरसेल्फ एंड so in between the routine medical was there. I went for this my routine medical, and so they were doing this ultrasound of my kidney. So suddenly, that I'm not a young but averagely, senior consultant who was there. So he was continuously doing this thing on my kidney. So I looked at him. So he was a major. मैंने कहा भाई क्या कर रहा है? जल्दी कर मुझे जाना है मतलब I would finish with my this. So he told me, he said, sir, मुझे ना कुछ दिख रहा है. So he said, well, so I mean generally ultrasound happens for maybe 5-10 minutes. So they took almost about 20-25 minutes. So they found something. And then they came out, and then the senior consultant, he came, and he was like, you will have to go immediately for CTC. So I said, मैं कल करा लेता हूँ. तो he said, नहीं अभी करना पड़ेगा. So I went for CTC, and when CTC happened, and then I was waiting in the officers' waiting lounge. So I just see these consultants running around the room, and so there was one Lieutenant Colonel, and she was known to us, Lieutenant Colonel Neha. So I really got pissed off कि भाई कुछ बता तो दो. Then suddenly Neha came. So मैंने Neha come here. So she said, हाँ sir. So I said, मेरे को बता क्या हुआ है? Nini sir, we are trying to find out. And I said, Neha, please tell me. It is enough. I mean, it's been last 3 hours that I'm undergoing this thing. हुआ क्या है बताओ? So she was like, कि sir, मैं मैम को बुला लूं? I said, मुझे बता यार. I mean, why are you so scared? I can take it on. It's fine. You tell me what it is. So she was like, sir, we have found a tumor in your kidney, and it is, malignant. So I was like, I just looked at her, and I said, Neha, give me a minute, okay? And I went into the washroom, and so I just closed the washroom, and so I was just looking myself in the mirror, and I was like, shit, man. I mean, हाँ मैं सोच रहा था कि अभी GMAT दे के अब बाहर निकलेंगे and life will be sorted out for you. So I think I had that few tears in my eyes, and I was like, shit, I mean, why? I mean, why this has to happen with me again? And so I really wanted to shout, I really wanted to cry, but the situations were not so conducive to probably let yourself out. And so I just washed my face, came out, and so I said, Neha, okay, now what next? So she just looked at me. She said, sir, ma'am ko bulao. And handle it. It's fine. So, I mean, then she told me you have to go for a PET scan and other things and whatever the procedures things were. So now I picked up my phone and gave a call to my wife. So I said, hi. So I said, "Whoops, kya kare?" And now wife doesn't know what is happening. She's back at home and she was into something. She said, हाँ जल्दी बोलो क्या है? I said, अच्छा अभी बोलूँ कि घर जाके बोलूँ कैसे बोलूँ इसको तो मैंने नहीं ऐसे ही पूछा था क्या कर रही हो तो she said यार मैं पूजा करने जा रही हूँ मैंने कहा कर ले यार तू आज पूजा ही कर ले ठीक है मैंने कहा तेरे पूजा की बहुत जरूरत है तो तू कर ले ठीक है उससे बताओ क्या हुआ मैंने कहा नहीं अच्छा घर आके बताता हूँ हाँ ठीक है फोन रखो तो ऐसे ठीक है so I think that 15-20 minutes was difficult I think because just that the moment this news was broken to me and हम ये सोचते हैं ना कि दुनिया में इतनी प्रॉब्लम कि मेरे साथ नहीं हो सकता we always think so whenever you see in your neighbors your friends and everyone so you always feel that कि ओहो उसके साथ हो गया लेकिन मेरे साथ नहीं हो सकता हम मतलब हम वो आंटी का बेटा बाइक चला रहा था बिना हेलमेट के उसका एक्सीडेंट हो गया लेकिन हम हमेशा ये सोचते हैं कि ये मेरे साथ नहीं हो सकता बट हकीकत ये किसी के साथ भी हो सकता है कभी भी हो सकता है so I think this was I think this was one of the most shattering moment for me because I suddenly saw that the thing which was there deep in my heart right from before joining the army so I gave it an attempt could not make it in 2008. Now, again, after 20 years, probably I was standing at a point where this seemed to be, happening. And then suddenly something happens, and that's what life is. So it just happens.
But today you are here,
So
braver and
yeah.
stronger. And we are glad. I remember, Mukesh, in the orientation week, when I first met you, I was like feeling like an imposter that time. And I met you and I was so inspired. I remember you said that I'm not just here to learn, I'm here to teach. And I don't know, after that conversation, something changed, and I was feeling much more confident and happier to be in a place where I could sit next to you in the same class.
Yeah.
And it's truly been an honor. But like you said, you're here to teach, and now that you've seen our generation, you've seen a lot of it. So, what is that message that you'd like to pass on to the cohort?
So, I mean, to be very frank, um, I feel that each one of us who are here. I mean, yes, I mean I'm an outlier as per the age, but when I see our cohort, especially, so most of the time I feel, like probably you're one of the youngest. I would say that, but this is my perspective about life, and so I feel, यार मैं 20 साल 21 साल फौज में गोली खाने के बाद कैंसर सहने के बाद मैं यहाँ आया हूँ and this girl who's probably half my age, she is here sitting with me. I mean, do you imagine what quality you have? So trust me, so there is so much that you can teach each one of us, and I feel this for each one of the members, of the board. In fact, everybody, not only on the ISB, I feel every individual who's sitting here, जो मैं 20 साल में जो मैंने किया वो आपने 2 साल में किया आप. So you are that important, trust me,
That's
so I
really kind
think,
of you.
and if you're talking about the imposter syndrome, मेरे को तो इतना डर लगता था. I used to avoid going to the parties. I was like, will I fit into this place or not? Can I adjust to this generation? But frankly, talking about the generation, whatever little I have seen, I mean, it will be, I mean, I can't give a very deep statements about it, but this generation is amazing. I'll tell you what. I think I find the clarity of mind, what they have, the energy level, and I mean, they know what they want. Probably शायद मैं आपकी एज में ना मुझे नहीं पता था इतना. शायद मुझे नहीं पता था कि जिंदगी कैसे जी जाती है, लेकिन शायद मैं ये मानता हूँ कि आप लोगों को ये बात पता है, आप लोगों को. And I think, no, I'm serious about it, and I feel that this generation is much more aware. They have their thoughts in place. Yes, there are few things which I feel, I mean, and that's quite natural to happen, but so I really I am not in a position to give any advices or learnings about the professional life, but maybe, yeah, I mean, from how the life has to be lived, how it has to be lived, maybe that, I mean, I can just share my perspective about it, and so there's few things which has helped me, like you were asking me, that when that bullet hit me, or when that cancer, the news came. So how did I, held up to the situation? So when I look back and I think about it, so my probably, the first piece of advice, and of course it's not a piece of advice, it's my perspective about life, and so you may take it or you may if you find some value, otherwise you can just dump it. Have some inner core values. What happens is, see, there will be a lot of situations, and as we all understand, life is like a sine, wave. So there will be ups and downs. But when the chips are down, so how do you hold yourself? So there you need to have some core values. Make those core values for yourself and don't compromise on those core values. And actually, if you would have seen in most of our cases also, when we when we read about whether it was about Tatas or Reliance, or maybe we were listening to Mr. Prasad, the LV Prasad. So all these people had one common thing, so they believed in one cause. They had some core values. Have that, and it is not easy to make it. Practice your core values. Take time, think, what aligns with your your personality, what you want, and then have those core values for yourself. And because these core values will help you to really, they will give you that energy when chips are down. You can stand by it. The second thing, of course, because I mean, I have gone, my, phase has been a little different from all of you. I feel that focus on yourself. When I say focus on yourself, I'm not saying that be selfish, no, but I'm saying health wise, physically, because what I now see, I mean, today's generation and the way the things are there. So we all are exposed to a lot of unhealthy things, So in this environment, try and keep certain hygiene factors. Okay. Simple things like ज़्यादा tension मत लो. जो होना है होगा यार, you can't deny that, So I think probably you can just prepare yourself, keep your health, give priority to your health, because you may be very successful, but in case if you're not, if you're not healthy enough to enjoy, then what is the point? So that's, I think the health is the biggest wealth what you can have.
Absolutely.
And third thing which I feel that, invest in your family, invest in your friends, because ultimately, we are human beings and we need surrounding to live. You can't live in isolation. And when I say that, invest in your friends and your family, so don't be only focused after career, no. Because, this outer layer of you, which is there, your family and friends, so they give you energy, they guide you, and you have a fallback option. So I think invest into them. I mean, identify who's the right person, spend some time, dedicate time with for the family. It's very much important because ultimately they are the ones who will stay with you lifelong. So
100%.
I think that's my just small contribution or maybe guidance, or I don't know what you call it, So that is what I feel.
Totally. And so lastly, Mukesh, what's next? What's the next chapter of your life going to look like?
So frankly speaking, I'm waiting for my destiny, wherever it takes me. So I think, but yeah, that's on the lighter side. But so see, I of course, like, all of us, even I want to work, secure myself for initial few years, because I mean, it's not about, getting a job. So I remember the day, first day when I had stepped into the ISB, I had told only one thing to myself that मैं यहाँ नौकरी करने नहीं आया. ठीक है, नौकरी तो मिल जाएगी यार. एक ही तो नौकरी चाहिए. You remember in the O week, Rahul Khare, who was there, they would come, HUL, alum, I think, alum of cohort 12. So, एक ही तो नौकरी चाहिए, मिल जाएगी वो कहीं ना कहीं से, ठीक है. But I think I'm somewhere deep in my heart, I want to do something for the society, especially in the healthcare. I really don't know how will I do it.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But I believe that there are resources, and if you have your passion, time and space will figure it out. अगर होना होगा तो हो जाएगा वो. So I think I live my life, every day. So I really don't think so much. Yes, I do prepare myself. I'm passionate about it, and if I get an opportunity to do something, I would probably, latch on to it, and I'll try and do whatever that, because ultimately I want to give it back to the society. So that is my ultimate aim, So that's it. I mean,
and I think, Mukesh, I say it on behalf of the entire cohort. You are truly an inspiration, and thank you so much for always bringing that energy on campus. We appreciate it, and we wish you all the very best. Thank you so much for doing this today. And
thank you so much. In fact, I must tell you. So I used to always say that, like, we all live one life, but I think so. I was living second life after my bullet injury, and then after cancer, I was living third life. And after coming to ISB, I think I'm living my fourth life now, I mean, it's a totally new chapter in itself. And trust me, the energy level which I find here, so I mean, it takes me back almost 25 years back, and probably which I couldn't do it, in my childhood or maybe my younger age. So that is the life I'm living back again, and that has been possible, because of the complete cohort, So they have helped me to live my life again back. And,
Hmm.
and I'm so thankful to, all of you for that, giving me an opportunity for that. Thank you so much, Gautami.
Thank you, and to many more happy and healthy lives ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gautami. Thank you.